Hello, welcome. I'm Ida. Welcome to my channel, Ida the Intuitive. Hope you're doing good. So, I'm going to talk about the spiritual meaning of the crow today. And crows are such a classic spiritual animal, like they represent so many different things. And I feel like often they represent kind of an omen to people. Like that's what people think when they see crows, a big flock of crows, or you think of just like the haunted house with the crows in the front, right? Or it's some movie scene where in the beginning or in a moment before something terrible happens, there's a crow, right? And then it's like, oh shit, it's a bad omen, something's getting ready to happen, right? And so I want to just talk about some of the things that I know crows to be and what they represent, and some notes that I took as well. And then I might pull some cards also to, pick up any things that I've left. But so, crows are a representation of change and transformation. So, when you see crows, it can be telling you that some sort of transformation is getting ready to happen, right? So, like, whatever that means for you, it can mean so many different things, right? Like, some people have seen crows and then it represents death, right? I feel like there's this fear of like, oh, someone's gonna die, a crow is at the door. I remember, like, before I even got into spirituality, I had a friend who was like, one time a crow like came and like tried to fly into the house or something, and then the next day they found out a family member died or something like that, right? So they can represent that kind of transformation, but it can also be just a transformational period in your life. And I know for me that, like, before I started having this crazy experience, like, I was seeing a lot of crows, like, just all the time, seeing a lot of them. And so I'm like, okay. And I like really, I don't know, I guess I didn't look that deep into it then either. But looking back, I'm like, okay, those crows were telling me something, right? So they are also messengers from the spiritual world to the physical realm. So not only do they can tell you all different kinds of messages from the spiritual realm and bring it to you, right? So clearly, like, a warning of death can be, but then also it can tell you like what someone who's up to some tricky shit is up to. They can tell you when you're on spiritually as well. Like if you are needing a confirmation, if your magic is working, if the magic has backfired on somebody else, right? What the karmics are up to, the crows will come and tell you. And I think also with it being this it's kind of like an initiation animal. And this is funny because Scorpio rules crows. Like, crows are definitely a scorpionic animal. And it's funny because Scorpio energy is literally like the initiator animal. So, like, or I'm sorry, not the initiator animal, but the initiator sign. And I feel like, just think about it, like, if you know Scorpios in your life, Scorpios are just naturally wanna like push you into something that you've never really done before, something that they know that maybe you don't really fancy, something that like, they like to initiate. It's almost like it's as if they don't even realize that they do it, but they do it. Like, you come in contact with Scorpios or scorpionic energy to kind of force you to experience things that maybe you weren't ready to experience, or that you weren't, to show you something new, right? And it can be kind of creepy and dark, but it can also just be like a new perspective, right? And so I feel like I have noticed that with Scorpios, just in general. And I don't even know if they know, like I don't even know if that's necessarily their intention, but just like naturally it comes with their energy. So crows also represent, your psychic abilities. So like again, right? Like how your psychic abilities are doing, the effects that they're having. Like watch the crows, watch the way they move when you see them. Watch the things that they're doing, right? Because that can give you little cues. And then they represent intuition and adaptability. And so that's what I was saying kind of about Scorpio energy, is having to be adaptable, having to be able to say like, okay, I'm going to try something new this time, or here's a situation that I'm kind of be pushed into that I really don't have any control over. Right? Because that's kind of what a transformation is. It's like you don't really you have to just kind of go through it and be adaptable and do the best that you can, right? So crows can represent that. So something that was funny, oh, and also teamwork. Before I get into what I was going to say next, crows also represent teamwork. So I thought that was interesting because it made me think of spirit group mind. I was talking about it in another reading where it's kind of like if we're all pulling from the same kind of spiritual higher mind in a way, like how it's like people will think of similar ideas and similar things and not have talked to each other about it. And it's like because spiritually we're all pulling from a similar place, right? So I feel like there's that teamwork of like connecting with spirit. Crows represent the literal communication of the group mind instead of just like what you think, but like all of the spirits collective, and then so just random side note, there was this video on Instagram of a woman saying hello to a crow, and she was speaking Spanish. She's like, hola hola to a crow in the window, and the crow's like this, and then it said hola in this like deep voice. And I've heard that crows can actually like communicate, right? Like, but then wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. And so I was wondering, I don't know, like if anybody saw that video, was it really, or was it just somebody using like some sort of, I don't know, thing to make it seem like it was talking? Because I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. But the way that it was said was so deep and like summoning that it literally it was scary. Like it was scary as fuck, honestly. Like it literally scared me because it just was like this deep beckoning hola. And I was like, oh no. And I feel like that's the energy of crows and the energy that they naturally carry. But it comes with the territory. You know what I mean? And this was something I was thinking about last night, of the reality that sometimes, even though that things are scary, like it comes with the territory of the existence of the energy, if that makes sense. And that like, yeah, we're afraid, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always like evil, right? Like just so evil that you have to run away from it. Is it just that it's again, transformational, a different perspective, a darker shadow aspect to something, right? And so I think that like that's important when we talk about just dark energy in general, because then that also represents our own shadows. Like how do we think about the dark sides of ourselves, our darker nature? And Scorpio energy also initiates you into that, right? And it's not just like always negative, like there is a lighter side to it. But it's like, how do you deal with it? How do you accept that side of yourself? Do you run from your shadow? Do you run from the negative parts of yourself. And it makes me literally think of somebody running from their own literal shadow. Like you see your shadow and you jump, or you see, it's kind of like that's a metaphor for like sometimes how we can treat the darker parts of ourselves. But the things you avoid are the things that always come back to haunt you, you know? So it's like you have to face it and know that it's there with you. You know what I mean? So, um, what else did I see? So I think I said, okay, so I said that about dealing with dark energies. Yeah. So also, when you, that's what I wanted to say. So there's that story. I didn't write it down, so it's going to take me a second to remember everything. Is it Persephone? It's not Persephone. Crap, I wish I had my phone. I didn't really want to have to get up and get my phone so that I can, please, like, let me just think of it so I don't have to move. Where she goes down into the underworld, right? The maiden that goes down into the underworld gets dragged by Hades to the underworld, basically, right? Like she's just kind of this innocent maiden energy. I'm just blanking on the name. But there's this innocence to her because there's a lot of things that she hasn't experienced yet. And then she gets summoned by Hades down into the underworld with him. And as she's down there, you know, she goes through these trials and tribulations that help her basically understand the underworld so that then she becomes basically like this queen of the underworld, and then she can go up and down however many times she wants, whenever she wants, right? So it's kind of like this story of her being summoned down there and dealing with all these crazy things, but then she returns of this like woman who is capable of duality, right? And so that's kind of like what you're doing when you're dealing with dark situations, when you have to take that dip into the underworld of dark, scary, weird things. Like you come out different, you come out stronger, wiser, right? And so crows kind of represent that kind of energy, as scary as it can be at the same time, you know? And I thought this was funny. Crows are monogamous. So crows will find another crow partner. And I thought this was just funny as hell. They'll find another partner and then they stay with that partner crow for life. And so, like, see how it's like that duality in itself of like, I don't know, right? Because we always say like, oh, they're a cheater, or oh, somebody is a cheater, they're not monogamous. There's like a loyalty to it. There's a loyalty to this energy. There is, but not just that, but I think it also kind of shows that once you connect with this underworld energy, once you go through that transformation, it stays with you for life. And it makes you more powerful, right? Like after somebody passes away, you're never the same, but you grow. After something, these like weird situations happen that really shake you, you grow from it and you're not ever the same. But we're not supposed to ever be the same forever, right? So that is kind of the energy that the crow can bring, and that can signal to you when you see them, you know? And so I also think about how some people will call like older people crows, right? Or like the wicked woman with the crow. And it's kind of like some people, to me, that makes me think of someone who has been through her like big first initiation process, and the crows fuck with her at this point. You know what I mean? Meaning she is knowledgeable, meaning she is wise, meaning she knows that darker side at least enough to understand it, where the crows come and give her messages, come and give him messages, come and give them messages. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like, I feel like crows will come and say like, hey, you know, like, I know you now. Like, I know, I come and find you, let you know some stuff because, you know what I'm saying? You went through that initiation process. And I think, let me find the Hierophant in this deck. This is a Kim Kranz, what is this deck called? I think it's the Animal Tarot. But I even believe that the Hierophant card is a crow, because there's knowledge down there. You know what I mean? There is knowledge on how to train the Hierophant. See what I'm saying? It's like you don't always get the wisdom of the Hierophant from easy situations. And the Tower, Scorpio, that same, like the shock of the Tower and then the wisdom that you gain from it. That lightning, right? The lightning ball of, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? And so, like, this is that wisdom. This is that wisdom. And that it's not always, I don't know, it doesn't have to be negative. It's just how you look at it. And it's just like, it can test you, though. It can test you and force you to kind of show what you're made of, in a sense. As much as I hate it when people are like, you gonna have to show me what you're made of. Show me what you're made of. But even that can be that Scorpio energy of like being pushed, being prodded, being asked to carry more weight, to do more. You know what I mean? And so, you know... it comes with the territory. So it's like, don't, you know, I'm saying don't toss too much negativity on the crow. Respect the crow. And that's the old crow. I don't know, the young crow, the crow, you know, because I just feel it, this energy of like this crow bitch. I don't know why, but like... it's like you need to respect that, because that is the power and the wisdom. It comes from there. You know what I'm saying? It comes from underneath the surface. It comes from what's under there and what you're willing to really look at within yourself and in the world. So, you know, the power, that's power. That's power. And then I think the last thing that I'll say, just because I do have a few new followers, which, hello, welcome. Thanks for being here. Just for anyone, I don't know, I'm feeling like I gotta download that the information that I give for some may be a little jarring, maybe a little like, whoa, that's a lot, or like, depending on how old you are, right? And so I just want to say, like, this is kind of crow energy in a way. Like, just some of the things that I'm sharing, not everything, but like spirituality has that mystical, magical energy, and that it's not to like scare anybody, but I just like don't, you know that that's what you're getting into, and with many different kind of channels. But or I'll say many different tarot channels, but like that kind of comes with the energy of tarot. And, you know, I feel like even tarot is ruled by Scorpio. If not, it might be Pisces, but I feel like it's Scorpio, because that's like magic. Scorpio rules magic and like the 8th house stuff. So, you know, it just comes with the territory. So it's like, I don't know. I don't put on there that this content is for kids. If you're young, like, I don't know. If you're young, then this is not really the content for you. And I feel like even There's certain initiations that you have to go through first before you even start really learning this knowledge, right? Like, let the knowledge find you. You might be younger when it finds you, but I just feel like you find it when you're supposed to find it, if it's your time to find it. You know what I mean? And that's for someone who maybe is just like younger or like freaked out by this kind of stuff. And it's like, if you're not ready, you're not ready. Like, it's, I don't know, just take your time with it and let it find you. And that's kind of what I like about talking about the symbolism of animals, because they're around us all the time. So there can be little light nudges from spirit of like, think about this. Here's this animal, you know, take a thought. Think about this. Here's this. You know what I mean? And then there might get to a point where then you start seeing, I don't know, crows and vultures. And like, then there's that of like, okay, so now it may be time for me to experience this, or here comes this kind of experience into my life. And it's like, that's cool, you know, like that's okay. But I'm just saying, like, don't look, as I'm wanting to sage right now. Like, I don't know, no need to scare yourself with the knowledge either. Because it's like, if you take it in before you're ready to take it in, it can be like overbearing. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And that's just a mystical nature that comes with moon energy. Like, that's just what comes with it. And it is, you know, it's a blessing. It's really a blessing if you can look at it that way. It really can help you. It really can help you. And I can tell you for sure, like, you know, especially if you're in a position where you have just a lot of people who aren't truthful to you, you know, or you're just like, you don't, you know, just being left in a position where either I hate to use the word naive, but just that there's things that you don't know, and there's a lot of secrets kept from you, and there's a lot of like things that are being hidden that you deserve to know, but that no one wants you to know. This is when, you know, notice when you see animals, notice like it can be spirit. It can definitely be spirit, the Most High, like, hello, we just wanted you to know this because nobody was going to tell you this. You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff. And that's the blessing of it. Like, it gives you the power to find clarity in situations where everybody else maybe isn't ready to accept the clarity of a situation, you know. And that's been one of the biggest blessings for me when it comes to animal symbolism, or just symbolism in general. Symbolism is so important. So that's kind of that's my purpose also with doing these animal, just talking about the different animals. Let me pull a couple cards and just see if there's anything else to add. But yeah, it's like, please no parents saying my kids, you know, seriously, like, please don't come on here. My kids can't. You're scaring the kids. It's like, this isn't necessarily for kids, you know. Like, I feel like it would be cool if there could be some sort of way to teach kids a very like basic, not jarring spiritual way to like connect to these different meanings. But that's not exactly my intention with my channel. Definitely for adults 18 and up. So just as a heads up, I don't know why I was picking up energy of like, this is not for kids. It's like, no, it's not. Just as a friendly, respectful, just so you know. Okay. Mm-hmm. And another thing I'll say, I feel like for some, after you have been through a particular kind of initiation process, after you've been through some dark stuff, how I was saying there's no coming back, it's kind of like there's really no coming back for real. And it's like you don't always realize how you look to others after you've been through some shit. I'm being so serious. Like, you don't really realize, like, I don't know. I'm just thinking back to times when before my initiation process, I'll call it, or before I realized certain things that I could see from other people, or like look at other people and see them as like, oh God, they just look, I don't know, look at them. I don't know, like look at them. They look, or like they're creepy, or like, God, they look at this person, kind of. But I just think that that's what I mean by it comes with the territory. And like sometimes after you go through certain shit, like you can really at least kind of pat yourself on the back of like, yeah, I made it through that. I made it through that. And like I earned my stripes with that shit for real. And like other people might look at you like, I don't know what is up with this creepy bitch, but like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't control that, but just that, like, there is benefits to it. I got the Ace of Cups. It's like, it's a gift, but some people just aren't ready. And so you have to know for yourself, you have to know for yourself. Do, 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 do. Wow. See, okay, so one reason why I'm saying this isn't really for kids, also, Scorpio energy rules sex. And I feel like there is also kind of this energy, this Hades energy, right? Of like pulling this woman down to the underworld to make her basically his, like, I don't know, his wife or something. You have to go look it up because I'm not giving you really the full story. But, what is a message for this spirit? Like, what is it that you want me to say? Because I'm just kind of picking up, like, I don't know, that maybe it can be a symbolism for, I don't know, jarring sexual experiences. Because I got the Chariot and then the King of Pentacles in reverse. So, I don't know. Just kind of like a, hmm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I was picking that up. I'm picking up a couple of things of just someone. That's what I was saying last night. Okay, so to myself is that just because somebody has this knowledge, honey, doesn't mean that this is literally everything that they choose to do at every moment. Okay, like I feel like this is when I was saying like, oh, look at this creepy woman, or like, I can't handle this knowledge. It's kind of like, then don't watch the channel. But don't assume that this person isn't still like a loving, open, capable person that likes normal things, you know? Because I feel this energy of like somebody in their Hierophant energy. It's like, I'm not ready for the knowledge, so therefore I don't fuck with the person either. And it's kind of like, no, like the knowledge is kind of like a study, you know what I mean? And that's what I like. It's like a study. So if somebody is a coder and they have all this coding information, you know, are you going to say, oh, I can't be their friend because I'm, you know, bad with numbers. I just can't handle all the numbers. It makes my mind spin. So I really don't fuck with them. No, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, not exactly. You could, but it's kind of just like, people are capable, you know, like people are very well, like well-rounded, and that's the whole thing of being able to go from the underworld and back up. It's like a knowledge that you have, you know, and it's just kind of like, yeah, you have to make the decision for yourself of whether you're really willing to, you know, learn it or not. But it's kind of like, don't shit on the person that has the knowledge, or just assume that like now they're evil, or they're gonna be standing over you with a knife, or like, I just pick up this stuff of like, these people are evil because of the information that they have. And it's like, these can be literally some of the sweetest people. And about the monogamy, crows are monogamous, like, it's kind of like, don't act like we're bad people just because of the knowledge that we have, or just like, oh, they're so, you know, look, Queen of Pentacles in reverse, or just like the crow woman that just, you know, just wants to be, you know, I don't know, I'm just picking that up, and it's kind of like, that's not true. Clear that out, okay? Like, set your eyes to the mystery of mysticism. Open your eye to the mystery of mysticism and accept that that exists regardless, you know, and that it's just kind of like, it's nothing to run from, and that the people with the knowledge are not gonna be necessarily your worst enemy because of the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? But then I'll say on the other tip, sometimes a crow needs to find another crow. You know what I mean? If crows are monogamous, then there's kind of this beauty of like two people who have this knowledge and are both not afraid of the moon, the dark energy. And I heard that last night. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to really find like, it's finding people who feel that way too, because it can be scary for some, and like some just aren't quite ready, you know what I mean, aren't quite ready, and that's okay. That's okay, you know what I mean, that's okay. But it's like, I don't know, my purpose here isn't necessarily to initiate anybody unless they really want to learn the knowledge. It's just like, it's like a library, you know what I mean? Come up in here and swipe through, see what you see if anything catches your eye, and then watch it, and then I'll share with you what I know, you know what I mean? But like, also, I'm do normal things too, you know what I mean? But I just have these interests. And I don't know, if you want to just see my normal kind of day-to-day vibe, follow my Instagram, idatheintuitive. Like, I do normal shit too, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, for some that are just so creeped out by this stuff, because I've got, you know, I've got some karmics who are like trying to make my life a living hell over this shit. And it's just kind of like, dude, I'm like, everyone is normal. So get into it or don't. That's all I can say. Okay. So that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Anything else weird, or can I just close it out here? Yes. 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 I think I'm going to just close it out there. So I hope that this gave you some confirmation. That is the spiritual meaning of the crow. And until next time, okay, be safe, take care, and I'll talk to you later.